I spent the last 6 months with the iPhone 15 Pro Max, and actually it all started when my boss Jaime handed me the phone to create content with, but not about, for Android Police, the site I work for. The irony of Android Police handing me an iPhone definitely isn't lost on me, so we'll get to that. But the gist is that this has been my work phone since March, and I think that's an important point. It's not everyone is going to use their iPhone Pros for work. The iPhone over the past few years has seen a steady lot of improvement, but nothing absolutely groundbreaking for a little while now. Your average iPhone owner might notice the brighter screen, might even notice the higher refresh rate, although that's pretty hit and miss, as I find a lot of people just cannot tell the difference whatsoever. And then there's things like the cameras, which for most people have become better, but haven't improved to a point where they really have to upgrade, or they feel like, yeah, let's go for this new feature. And of course, the same sort of things go for network speeds, for charging, for performance, for battery life. It's more of the same. It's more evolution than revolution to the great many looking to purchase the iPhone, because of course they're so popular. By the way guys, I'm really trying to hit 100,000 subscribers, which I know is a bit of a crazy goal, but if you could subscribe, that would genuinely mean the absolute world to me. This phone, and a lot of the iPhones that came before it, have been exceptional in those areas. Water resistance, robust builds and designs, and phones that reliably deliver a great buying and owning experience to lots of people. The things that were new this year were namely the action button, which has taken the spot of the alert toggle, which is something that quite annoyed me to start with, but actually does a very similar job, so I guess it's okay, although I do prefer a slider, and that's why I rock a OnePlus as my personal phone. Then there's the USB-C port, which came as a result of the EU passing the law, if I remember correctly. And this is actually a handy way to get more people on USB-C. I'm happy that I can charge this with the same charger as my smartwatch, my smart ring, my earbuds, my laptop, that kind of thing. It just means I only have to carry one cable around, which is fantastic. The design and feeling in the hand is subjective for sure. I actually do prefer curved sides. I'm not a big fan of these flat sides. And actually the Pixel 9 Pro's flat sides feel heaps nicer at its smaller size, but I know lots of people who love these flat sides, so I guess it's not the biggest issue in the world. I've rocked it without a case or a screen protector this entire time, and it's held up really well. It's basically pristine with no real marks on the body, which is terrific. My phone's battery life is still fantastic, as it really should be. It's only 6 months old, and I have to say that this phone has been basically faultless for me in every other way. As a consumer, this phone is good, but what about as a pro? As someone who makes money from using this phone? By the way, if you don't want to hear about all of this stuff, skip to this timestamp on the screen and you'll miss all the pro talk. But I think it's important, so I would argue you should stick around. I make videos for a living. Big ones, little ones, controversial ones, and fun ones. Video is my life, so beyond a phone having a good camera, which this does and we will get to that, it needs to shoot good video. And that's where things get loud and annoying surrounding the iPhone online, because everyone just goes, the iPhone shoots the best video, and it can get kind of confusing. In particular, smartphone video looks like smartphone video for a few reasons, but mainly because of something called dynamic tone mapping, which is that HDR effect that brings down the highlights and ups the shadows, and the scene kind of looks a little bit more washed out, and it does this all adjusting while the camera is moving. It makes stuff look crystal clear, but it doesn't look natural. This is what pretty much every single smartphone camera does, and it's what the iPhone does in its auto video mode, the video that everyone shoots. So it's no different really from standard. The standard video mode on this phone is very similar to the likes of the Pixel 9 Pro, the Pixel 8 Pro, the S24 Ultra, that kind of thing. But the ProRes log format, which the iPhone shoots, does away with this. It allows you total creative control. Basically no other phone does this. Not the S24 Ultra, not the Pixel 9 Pro, not even my beloved OnePlus 12. And that is what makes this phone truly pro for the first time. And I have to be totally fair, this is something that 1% of iPhone owners will ever touch, let alone use on a regular basis. This is why pro videographers like me really like the iPhone 15 Pro and Pro Max. And to your average smartphone user, they are merely small upgrades on the last version. The video that comes out of this camera can be absolutely exceptional. I mean, leagues above what any other phone is doing, and it all comes in that log format, which is something that you need to grade, you need to process. These files are not small. This is not for your average person. This is a pro feature and one that I dearly appreciate. It's not for everyone, but my goodness is it magical. You get plenty of natural dynamic range with pretty great highlight roll off and the creative control to make it your own. This is why Jaime gave me the phone back in March, and why it has been a killer creative tool for me. I've mostly used the Blackmagic app, which gives you heaps of different creative controls including manual shutter speed, ISO and so on. This combined with an ND filter of some description will allow you to drop the shutter speed to the 180-degree angle and get some genuinely pro looking video. It doesn't look half bad in auto shutter mode, but if you're gunning for that pro look, an ND filter is kind of a must and you need to adhere to the 180 rule. Outside of the whole pro thing, the iPhone's cameras, aside from the wacky HDR skin tones that haven't been addressed since the iPhone 8, are really good. They aren't the best in the phone. I think the OnePlus 12, Pixel 9 Pro and Galaxy S24 Ultra all battle out for that spot, but this is up there. And the stills and video in auto mode you can get from this phone are absolutely stunning. These will likely stay looking this good for a while, as I don't see camera quality drastically improving over the next couple of years, but I could be totally wrong, so take that with a pinch of salt. Having the 5x optical is really nice for getting compression in your images and just seeing more by pinching in. This is something we've wanted in iPhones for years now, and we finally got it on here after Android having it for like 5+ years. Again, skin tones aside, I really appreciate the camera quality from the iPhone 15 Pro Max. I much prefer the colour palette of the Hasselblad look with my OnePlus 12, and that's why I believe as a total camera package that might be the better phone, but it can't do any of the pro stuff that this can do, and that's what makes this so unique. Also, being able to ping photos and videos across to my Mac laptop with AirDrop is a feature I dearly underutilized in the past and with previous iPhones for years, but found it's really useful and I use it all the time with this phone. What an absolutely killer feature. Although one you can only really use with other Apple products like iPhones, iPads and Macs, which is a shame for my Windows PC because it just doesn't work on that. Also, whilst we're generally talking about software, can we quickly talk about how utterly embarrassing it is that kids get bullied in the US for not having blue bubbles or whatever? When I was at school, you would get bullied for caring what other bubbles people were texting in. It's insane how things have changed. Although saying that, very few of us had iPhones back in the day. It was all about Blackberries and dumb phones. Am I showing my age there? I actually had a Palm Trio Pro. I was really cool. I think that's all changing anyway with some law coming in, and yeah, it shouldn't be an issue for a long time, but my god is that embarrassing. I'm not going to talk about AI on this channel because it's my channel and I can do exactly what I want and I don't like AI. But if you want, you'll have to buy the next iPhone for AI, I think. So, cool, thanks. This phone costs $1,200 when new for the 256GB base model Pro Max. You can find them secondhand on eBay for like $850 in very good condition, so that's like 30% off, and for that kind of money, this might be one of the best, like truly pocketable video cameras on the market for professionals. The sort of thing to complement a bigger camera like an FX6 or an A7S. Incredible for pros, but for consumers, the true flagship iPhone model for £350 off is actually quite a massive saving. Here's how I'll split it. If you're a pro, definitely consider it. It's a very powerful tool to have on you at all times. And if you're a consumer, maybe consider it if your current phone is on its last legs and you want an upgrade, but not if you have an iPhone from, say, the last generation or two, and are just looking for a cheap upgrade as the next model arrives.